Not gonna lie, it has been so long since I have jailbroken or hacked a device. I'm pretty excited to install Android on this thing. What's up, s'mores? I'm Shannon Morse. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I am diving into a little gadget that has me sitting here going, WTF, more than it's helping me out in real life. Yes, we are talking about the Rabbit R1, a little AI-powered assistant that is supposed to be the future of tech, but it's kind of gaslighting me a little bit. Now, I truly was hoping that all the negative press this thing got after the last like 3 months about this thing was just entirely blown out of proportion, but now I know why they never responded to my request to review it. They probably saw girl with a history of hacking things and thought, nope, hard pass, we are not sending her one of our devices. So I ended up buying one. Let's jump in. So first off, the Rabbit R1 is priced at $199, and it comes in this very loud neon orangey color. I think it's really cute. I think that it stands out a lot in the box. It's a very small box. You get the R1 itself in a little plastic case. You get a USB-C charging cable and a quick start guide. It was released earlier this year with a whole lot of hype, but it immediately saw tons of bad feedback because it basically runs on Android. People discovered that it runs on Android, and it didn't even work very well. So does it still suck a few months after original release? That's kind of what I wanted to find out here. Okay, so first things first, let's chat about this design. The Rabbit R1 is this 3-inch square gadget. It kind of looks to me like an old school Tamagotchi. It's pretty cute. It's got a plastic body that is surprisingly robust, but it does pick up a lot of fingerprints because it's made out of this somewhat shiny material. So if you do kind of wave it around in the light, you will see a whole bunch of your fingerprints on it and on the screen too. On the right side, there is a push to talk button. It's right there. And on the front, there is a scroll wheel, which you can also access from the back. So if you're holding it in your hand, you can scroll the wheel from both sides. I like that a lot. And then you have this 2.8-inch touchscreen. Now it is very small. It fits easily into your pocket, but the screen is not very bright, so I would not recommend trying to use this in direct sunlight. Now, I am so proud of the work that I'm putting into this video because even though it's annoying, it was really fun to review a product that was so weird and out there. Even though this video is just 10 minutes long, videos usually take me around 8 hours to create, from the brainstorming to the research to all the thorough writing and the review process, all the way to post-production work, like making my own thumbnails and uploading the video and doing all that stuff. The only thing I don't do is the video editing. I have an editor for that, finally. She's amazing. Hey girl, hey. So if you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed creating it, a simple click of the subscribe button really goes a long way, and it tells me what kind of videos you want to see on this channel. Do you want more exciting reviews of like really weird things? I keep on shaking it and it goes to the settings. Let me know. Hit subscribe and comment down below. All right, picking it up, let's talk about the display. So the display is kind of where the things go a little negative for me. The touchscreen, it is touchscreen, but it's only partially functional. Like you can't do anything unless you're in very specific places. Like you can type on it, but that's about it. Most of your interactions are gonna be with this scroll wheel from the front or back and the side button, and that's about it. So that sounds fine in theory, but it's kind of clunky when you're actually using it. Like there were many times that I found myself in the settings or on a menu where I would try to click an option on the screen and it just would not register anything. Like if I go into the settings right now and open the settings, there we go. And I try to like scroll up and down or choose something. You can't choose anything. You have to use the scroll wheel. It's kind of annoying. So the interface is pretty basic, and it's got this cute little animated rabbit bouncing around, which I thought was just so freaking adorable, but it's not very intuitive. Like to get into your settings, you have to shake it. If you want to use the terminal, because there is a terminal, here I'll go back, there we go. You have to turn it on its side. And now it's not loading the oh yeah, because it disabled my terminal even though I had it turned on. More on that in a second. There we go. I turn it on the side and then we have the terminal. I kind of figured that part out on accident, but yeah, it's not very intuitive. You can control your device by talking to it though, and it does respond pretty quickly. Turn up brightness to 100%.
The brightness is set to 100%.
Now, before we get to the features and why you might want to jailbreak this thing, you should also consider securing your accounts online. Now, I love using today's products to better secure my online lifestyle, and one of the ways I do this is with my YubiKey. This little device looks like a USB flash drive, but it's actually used specifically to add a second layer of authentication to your accounts. Instead of typing in a 6-digit code right after you put in a password to a website, which can be bypassed or stolen, I plug this in on supported sites and I quickly log in. Now, Yubico just introduced firmware version 5.7, and with that are a whole slew of upgrades to the YubiKeys that I absolutely love for securing my accounts online. The new firmware gives businesses a whole bunch of security updates, like the ability to block common pins at the hardware level, enforcing usage of YubiKeys to track assets better, and they increase security around hardware pins like minimum length rules. But for consumers, this is where we get some awesome perks. Now we get increased storage. Firmware 5.7 allows for up to 100 passkeys and 64 OAuth one-time passcode seeds. Yes, that is right. Yubico listened to your concerns and they increased that capacity. That's a big deal. As more companies move to support passkeys and hardware keys, it also means that Yubico is future-proofing their products. The new Yubico Authenticator app, I'm so excited to show it to you. This update brings us official support for French and Japanese. There's an Android edition which now supports FIDO functions like managing pins, passkeys, and fingerprints now on mobile. Plus, they are updating the interface, making it super pretty. It's a better user experience. Now, personally, I have used YubiKeys for several years to protect my online accounts. It is so much more secure and convenient for me to set up a couple of hardware keys to unlock my accounts quickly, especially now that I can manage all my 6-digit codes in their Authenticator app, and I can secure that app with a hardware key too. Now, my video playlist on my YouTube channel goes over every single common question that you might have about YubiKeys. But if you are ready now to take the plunge, take the next step in securing your online identity, go to ubi.co/Shannon2024 to get $5 off a brand new firmware 5.7 YubiKey. That's ubi.co/Shannon-2024 for $5 off. And thank you so much to Yubico for sponsoring my channel and for making these incredible keys that I have purchased myself over the years. Now, unfortunately, the big selling point is its AI capabilities, but I was a little bit underwhelmed for some parts while satisfied for others. Now, I'll give you some examples here. For voice search, I asked for weather in Denver, it was correct. Then I started asking it for details about Lindsey Stirling's concerts. You know, the violinist, she's amazing, by the way. These were highly relevant questions at the time because I was going to see her at Red Rocks hours after recording this B-roll, and she was great. Highly recommend going to see her concert if you get an opportunity. It was beautiful. So the Rabbit R1 did a very intelligent job of having a conversational communication with me. Like, I was able to ask it leading and then afterthought questions, and it felt like a conversation, but it got some of the data wrong. Like, it told me one of her upcoming concerts was in the wrong place.
When is Lindsey Stirling playing at Red Rocks Amphitheater?
Searching Lindsey Stirling's schedule at Red Rocks Amphitheater. Lindsey Stirling performs at Red Rocks Amphitheater on July 17th, 2024.
What time is she playing?
Checking Lindsey Stirling's performance time at Red Rocks.
Hey,
Lindsey Stirling performs at Red Rocks Amphitheater on July 17th, 2024 at 6:30 p.m.
Okay. Where is she playing after Red Rocks Amphitheater?
Searching for Lindsey Stirling's upcoming concert locations. Lindsey Stirling's next concert is at Maverick Center in Salt Lake City.
Yeah, she's playing at Red Rocks Amphitheater, and then she's going to KCMO, Kansas City, Missouri. She already played at Salt Lake.
She already played at Salt Lake, Rabbit. Now, mind you, this is after an update to the firmware and the software, so it should be fixing those kind of issues now, but it's still giving me the wrong data. Then we had vision and camera. Now, pointing the camera at objects, and I'll show you some examples here. Pointing the camera at objects is supposed to give you information, but it misidentifies things, or it does not give you all the details. For example, I was pointing this thing at all sorts of different character figures, little popular figures that I have sitting around my studio behind me, and it would give me very generic information about what the figure was.
This image shows two small small toy figurines. One is a white creature with a crown, and the other is a brown character wearing a crown. They appear to be collectible or decorative figurines, likely from a toy or game series.
Well, yeah. But tell me where they're from, dude.
But it would not tell me the actual names of these characters until I showed it Batman. It recognized Batman, it did not recognize anything else. Now in this case, circle to search on my Android phone works loads better. So if I was trying to identify a character using one of those two devices, I would use my Android phone. But then I showed it some crystals. Yeah, you know, crystals that grow out of the earth, and it got those specimens mostly correct. So for pop culture, no. But for identifying natural items like crystals and plants, yes, it works. Then we have things like music and Uber and DoorDash, etc., etc. Integrations are third-party and they require you to log into your accounts. But the third-party options are very limited.
Play Hack All the Things by Dual Core.
You are not logged into Spotify or Apple Music. Please log in using the connections page on the rabbit hole.
There is no Lyft, there is no YouTube Music. I don't use Spotify or Apple Music, so when I asked it to play some music for me, it wouldn't even just do a search and pull it up on whatever player it found first. It required me to log in, and then I was like, well, I don't have an account on those, so I can't use the music searches. They really need to add some more integrations to make the platform useful. Also, if you do want to connect your third-party apps, you have to type your password into the login page on Rabbit Hole. Now, I don't know if that's just me. I don't know if that's just a glitchy thing that was happening in Chrome when I was trying to set this up, but you cannot autofill it from a password manager or copy and paste it into the field. You have to type it in yourself. At least I couldn't, and I tried several times, and because my passwords are randomly generated, they are long, and I don't know what they are. Ain't no way I'm gonna sit there and type each and every single one in. Then we have the terminal. I thought it was really cool that you can access the terminal. I mean, who doesn't want to access a terminal on their cute little device? I want to access a terminal, and the terminal itself, oh look, I can use the touchscreen. It says Rabbit at the top of the terminal. It's so cute. I want to be able to use it. Now you do have to enable this in the settings to access it, but when you do and then you turn it on its side, it will open the terminal and you get this little keyboard on the screen, which is very, very responsive. It's really good and useful to use. But for some reason, I would do something really silly simple, like I would type in ping 8.8.8.8. And then it gave me these responses like terminal mode has been disabled. And no matter how many times I went back into my settings and enabled the terminal, it just automatically turned it off. So why even give me the option? That's so frustrating. Then we have text-to-speech. I did find text-to-speech note-taking to be pretty solid. I can record a note and then I can access that note in my web dashboard for my account, and you can also download those notes. I thought the audio was pretty standard. It was clear enough that if I was using this specifically to record, say, a classroom or record an interview so I don't get quotes wrong, then it should be fine. Now, if I needed something for a YouTube video because I like clear, I'm pointing at my microphone, I like clear audio, then I would need a professional microphone for that setup. This is not going to be clear enough for that kind of setup, and I'll show you an example here.
Translate from English to Japanese.
Getting ready to translate for you.
Hello, how are you?
こんにちは、お元気ですか?
Genki desu. Arigato.
I'm fine, thank you.
Toire wa doko desu ka?
Where is the bathroom?
Do you like Sailor Moon?
Sailor Moon が好きですか?
Then you have your whole.rabbit dashboard. I'm calling it whole.rabbit, but they call it rabbit hole. This is where you can access a history of your interactions with the Rabbit R1, and you can also download photos and speech recordings. I like that I can access my queries, and I appreciate that it even uses AI to give me a summary of my voice notes. Downloads are very quick, they're very painless, and you can also delete any that you don't want to keep a copy of. But then we have the battery life, especially if you want to use it to identify things with the camera. The battery life is pretty low. Like I went from 95% to 70% in half an hour. If you leave it to sleep for 24 hours, it will drop from that 70% down to 20% even if it's not in use. So I think that the battery needs to be better. And lastly, we have the security. In a recent update, a while back, several weeks ago, Rabbit provided an overview of the impact of a security breach where an employee had leaked confidential internal code to a hacktivist group. This breach included several API keys, which led to the unauthorized sending of defamatory emails, but did not expose any customer data. Rabbit has since rotated the compromised keys, and they migrated secrets to AWS Secrets Manager for better security. Now, those leaked keys included access to services like 11 Labs for text-to-speech and SendGrid for email. Now, while the 11 Labs key allowed the download of anonymized data and potential disruption of voice services, it could not identify individual users or requests. The SendGrid key could send emails and potentially disrupt the spreadsheet feature, but it did not expose historical email data or the actual spreadsheet contents. Now, Rabbit acknowledged feedback about their 180-day vulnerability disclosure program in this same blog post. They reduced it down to 90 days, which is a good thing. They also hired a third-party security firm to audit their codebase to ensure that all secrets are properly secured, with the results expected by the end of August. So we're gonna see what happens there. Rabbit also emphasized their commitment to transparency and security as they continue to investigate and address the breach itself. But then, in July, the Rabbit team also posted a blog about resolving another risk to data if you lose or sell your R1 or if it gets lost. Text-to-speech and device pairing data is stored locally and directly on the R1 device, and a new owner could potentially jailbreak the device to find those log files. Now, Rabbit responded, and they made a few changes. First off, pairing data cannot be used to read from Rabbit Hole, only trigger actions. Pairing data is no longer logged on the device. They also reduced the amount of data that gets stored on the device, and now there's a factory reset option right in the settings menu, which I was also able to confirm with the newest update, so it's already there. So should you buy it? Well, in short, my personal opinion, this is just how I feel. I would not recommend this to my friends or family. The Rabbit R1 feels like an unfinished product. It's not quite there, it's not quite ready. It feels a little gimmicky and it does have potential, but there's some glitches. It's limited as well in so many different ways. So I would say save your $200, wait for something better. Maybe they'll come out with an R2 that has better battery, a useful touchscreen, and more third-party integrations. And then eventually they'll have that audit and all the findings will come out from that in August. So hopefully things get better from here. I have hope. I'm trying to stay positive. Have you tried the Rabbit R1? Let me know in the comments down below. And don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that bell icon so that you actually see my videos pop up in your newsfeed, because apparently sometimes they don't. And a huge shout out to my Patreon supporters. If you want early access to these videos, you can join the likes of these folks, these fine folks right here. And you can go over to patreon.com/Shannon Morse to get early access, get my Discord server channel access, all the things. You guys are just the best, and I appreciate you so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye, y'all.